What's up? This is Vicidus. I'm the imaginative, crazy designer of characters and worlds in my own creation called Realm Mercenary Project. I wanted to show my own progress in this character sculpt, but after that, towards that, I'll talk more about my engine use of the Unity concept known as UFE or the Universal Fighting Engine. The system is a stylized, cool set of designs and animation sets that you can use to create things. Well, in more cases, you gotta create the animations to put into this system. UFE is a fighting game engine you can buy on Unity App Store or Unity Asset Store to create your own fighting games. It gives you the unlockable abilities to create any kind of moveset animation you need. All you have to do is create it. So for today's session, I'll teach about those two things about finishing your sculpted character and learning more about the character itself. So yeah. Let's check it out, okay? So we're gonna turn on Blender, and then within this system, it'll work like Maya and like other modeling toolkits. So when you see it, you'll probably know what I'm talking about in that sense. Give me a second. Now I'm gonna give me a sec. Alright, I'm gonna just there. Now we're back in the system now. So when you see this in the end, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. As you can tell, we're using this reference here, and we organize it in a way to make it more distinct in that sense. In this case, you're seeing what I did here in that sense. You see? Everything that you've seen here as well too. So now what we're gonna do now is that we're gonna make this much more, how should I say it, much more high definition in that sense. Since Blender is a really good tool for this, it allows you to do things with some more sophistication in. You see what I'm doing here? So if you do this right, supposedly we're gonna need some more time on this. So you don't do this first. Don't sculpt it first. We're gonna do the art of edge looping in that sense. Edge looping is the concept of making creases and throw like logic into your mesh so that way it has more of that detail kept in that sense, or you don't lose that detail when you remesh it or multi-detail it without the supporting loops. Edge looping is just supporting loops nonetheless. You see what I'm doing? Same thing. Just like that. Just like that. As you can tell, this is what I'm doing. Now we're going to try and make more supporting edge loops here. More on that later on. So cool, we did that. Well, technically we don't really need that in that sense. We could, but there wouldn't be any need for it. If we try and do this, then we can do this. And we're going to press this. We don't need the other edge loops here. We're just only doing it for the this part of the hand. You see? And then we're going to second. Yeah, there we go. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna show this here. And we're going to click on this. Click on this. And then press delete and dissolve edges. So it's only going to work for that part of the hand. So now we do the same thing over here. Same process, just think more about what you're doing and take time in it, just like last time. Same process. Oh, look at that. We did the same thing here too. So now we have to go here, press this here, press this here as well, and now we're going to cross these ones out. We're going to take them out because we don't need them. We're going to start cleaning this up, and then when this happens, we're going to clean this up as well. And then we're going to do delete, resolve edges, and then that's going to clean up our mesh a little bit. So now we have this mesh here, right? So now, if we do this right, we can technically save a lot of time, and we can also like do a lot of work in this too. For example, we can go here, press edit, and since we're still in that modeling phase, we can do a lot more of our low poly mesh because we have full control over what we're doing with more easy to access things. And it's simpler in that sense, so it gives you that understanding of doing things with more simplicity. See what I'm doing here too? And I can also make a big nose here as well. Control E. Control E means extrude, extrude amongst normals. If you do individual, it's going to make individual faces and not connect. And then we're going to look at the edges here. Same with edges here as well. Press W. Press this as well. Press this as well too. There we go. Then we're going to look at these 2 points here. 2 points there. Press R for scaling, and now just that. Then we can go here, and then we can try and extrude these parts here. Do these things here, 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 here as well too. Well, not all of it, but you get the point what I'm talking about. We're just doing the edge supporting loops just to make it more cleaned out. Just don't do too much. You only do the amount you need in that sense. You see what I'm doing here too? Here as well too. Just like that. Just like that. Like that. And we're going to do the mouth as well. Okay, now I want to make this muscle here stronger. Right, UVs. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Okay, so I think we got what we needed. So, by the way, if you see this happening, you can fix it by just adding in the edge loops that you want, or that you just cut it, just depending what you do. When you do this in the end, that will change, and then you can essentially just change things depending. But since I want more of a chest place here, what you can do here instead is like create more of that thing here and does that. You see, so it creates tries in that sense too, nonetheless. Alright, so now we're gonna go here now, right? Now we're gonna do for each part here in that sense. Just like that. You see that? Alright, you see this happening, right? Go back to your thing. Click on the edges that you want to take off. And then you slowly just take off the ones that you don't want. As in this one here, we're going to take it off because it's going to clear our topology a little bit. Control that and you just take it off one step at a time. So you do that, right? So you just do this and just control this parts here and here as well. Delete dissolve edges. There's objects, and then you go here, and now it's more cleaned up. Okay, cool. Alright. One last thing. Let's check to see if this thing's here is done right. So there are some points here we can use, but at the same time, we need to essentially put more edges here in a sense. A lot more edges, as you can tell what's going on here. 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 Then you click on this. Click on this as well. Click on this as well too. And then we're gonna look at the other ones as well. If there's too much like a lot of differences in there too, we have to take this out as well too. And then that's gonna clean up parts of our things as well. So in this case, we're going to essentially take this off, take this off. Delete dissolve edges, object, to do this again. Just edit, and now everything seems a little bit more clean in that sense. If it doesn't look too clean in that sense, then all you have to do is just change what you're doing in that sense and take time on it. So in this case, we're going to click on this, click on the X-ray mode, and we're going to take off all this out because we're only deleting parts of that mesh that or parts of the edges that will make things too complicated. So now we do this, right? Yeah, dissolve edges. Now it's getting much more clean in the end. Cool. Alright, so when you see all of this, right? So now we're going to press edit. We're going to go back to these editings here, right? So see, we did all of this, right? Now we'll go back to these since we made the foundations. We're going to take it step by step, so that way when we multi-resolution this, all these supporting edges will then allow us to actually make the details much more concrete. Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. And now I'm going to go here again, and I'm going to press knife, do the knife projecting tool. Just like that. Knife projecting tool. Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. Alright, cool. I got our thing done, so press object, then we're going to modifier, generate, multi-resolution, and then we're going to subdivide. There. This is what I'm talking about. You see where some differences now? See there's some shape to it that actually shows all the muscles? This is what I'm talking about. But see, there's some mistakes we did. The mistakes are actually already here in that sense, so we're going to go back here, and then we're going to solve edges, and now we're going to slowly sculpt this. Just like that. Now we put them back at them again, just like that, and just like that. And then we're gonna look back here again, right? This time we're gonna make some more edge loops here as well. See how we're adding more detail to it? So when you multi-resolution it, it will add much more detail and much more even grasp what you're trying to design. There you go. Now back to object. Retry this again. Multi-resolution, subdivide. And now it's seeming much more changed up in here. And now we can go object with sculpt mode, and now we can actually sculpt the details that we want. Just like that. See how we added the details to it in a very controlled form? This is what I'm talking about, nonetheless. Having full control over what you're doing when you're designing something in that sense. And I guess we can turn this off. So if you see something wrong in that sense, you can always go back and press edit. And then you see how it's very non-destructive? It allows you to do multiple things and changes what you do, as it allows you to actually change your model and actually adapt its model without destroying it completely. This is a very non-destructive flow, so it gives you more flexibility over what you're designing or what you're controlling in that sense. Just like that. See, that's what I did. Now it looks like that now. Alright. Now we're gonna look at the face here, and we create a face, right? So now, create this here. Now we're gonna slowly add in the details. You see how I'm doing it? We're about to create something pretty cool in this sense. Just like that, you see that? There we go. And see how our nose now actually looks kind of well defined now. You see, it's all part of the plan. So we do this again, right? We can take this again, and then we can make more edge loops here as well. Just like that, just like that, just like that. Over here as well, over here as well too. And make it much more defined. Here too, here also, right? Now, go back here. This objects. And now does that. See that? And now you guys know what's going on now. The next videos will be more about creating a very strong character like this too, and seeing what the character can do in that sense. There we go. There we go. Just like that. You see what's going on? That's how you create detail in that sense too. See, now it's more synchronized and more designed in that sense. There we go. And then we can click on this. There, we created something pretty cool too. Now, time to buff up the muscles. Like this. You see how I'm doing it? There we go, you see what I'm doing here? Alright, cool. Looks like we did it. So now we're gonna go here, slowly create more of the details here. And I think we found ourselves a base in the end, so this is good. There we go. Now add more substance here too. Just like that. Cool. There. Now you know what I'm talking about and what you can create out of this too. So yeah. Now you see what happens when you actually take your time and actually use some of your fundamentals. Heck, even if these parts here look pretty good too. See that? So overall, we have created a base mesh like this where what it is. I've done this around 3 times in this sessions. The first time was more or less, actually 4 times, but the first time was more or less just a showcase. The second time was me doing that base mesh of that kid-like character. The third one was essentially a muscular character, but showing that you can make some designs like that. And this one is essentially more of a muscular character with more better fundamentals applied to what it is. Every point I show is just meant to help understand what you can create as well and the practices you can do. So now you know what I've created in this one as well too. Alright. Now let's go into something else. So we're gonna look at my fighting game, okay? So I use the UFE engine as a way for me to showcase my art style and my design styles in fighting games, but I also showcase the art set of creative thinking in that form, showing the process from like making the action combos to the principles of what makes a character thought out in that sense. So give me a second. Now I'm going to show it. Now you know. Should load up, so now we can talk for a bit. So overall, you could kind of understand what I'm talking about in some current theory. In that theoretical theory, whatever I'm doing in that sense is a very fun practice, from making characters to creating it and making it into a full playable thing. It's crazy, right? It's crazy how people will play these things and not realize what it is, or how the amount of work that one has to do to create this in the first place. Always remember this. Crazy is subjective. It's based on what we perceive and what we see as a norm or not a norm, in that sense. And whatever we see ourselves what we are, always remember that we are all the same at the very end. We're all the same, hence we're all what we are, beings in this planet called Earth. There's ancient philosophy to say that because now at this point, the more we look at ourselves, the more we put it onto others, and what we see from ourselves, the more we flatter ourselves, the more we become the most. Mike, talk more about the idea of seeing yourself when you play the game, as you then play in a more intellectual form and introspection of what you could become or not become depending what you choose to do so. Hence, in layman's terms, no one's perfect. We all change all the time. We change and we grow and we understand what we become and what we have to see and do. That's part of waking up in that sense, which is why I chose the game development journey, because making a game is really hard. There are going to be those that are never going to understand this at all. Let them be. You can't blame them for what they could ever see to begin with. It's like them staying themselves stuck in step 1 or in that track 1 where they could have done multiple tracks in the end. Hence, they were lacking in what they couldn't see. Sad to see, right? Alright, now let's look back at our game actually. So we're going to go here. We're going to go here too. So give me a second. Let's check this out. So take this off. Okay, there we go. This is my UFE engine system I use. Very magical, right? It's kind of crazy how the system actually kind of works just intuitively in that sense. So, and now you're starting to see what I'm talking about. So, let's first test out the engine first. So I'll show you the engine here, and I'll show you what is actually going on. So, let's see. All right, so you see what's going on here, right? So, let's see. Let's try to switch the music up. So you see what's going on here, right? So all this you see here, I creatively managed, designed it. Even the UI worked too, right? You see how simple it is when you look at it? It's not supposed to be too complex in that sense. It's supposed to be easy to look, understand, clear to see, and understand what to do. If it's too complex, how can you say anything else than that? What I do here, in a sense, is a very bad example of doing this. See, you see here in that sense, you see how I made all the art like that? It looks kind of cool, but it's not easy to read because all the details are confusing what's going on. This is just an example of what not to do when you're creating UI work. Now let's go back and choose training mode. Here I've created 3 distinct characters. They're character modeled by me, 3D modeled, textured by me, and the UI work done by me also. This is a test to show you that yes, I can do these works in that current form. So now you see it's here, right? Let's test out these 2 characters. And I have 2 exclusive worlds we can look at. So now we're gonna look at this. Let it load, so.
Round 1.
There we go.
Fight.
Oh, it's kind of lagging. It's fine, alright. You see how you can do combos like that too? Just like this. Just like that. And there's some other ones I can do too, like this one too. And there's like a charge moveset I can also do as well. Check this out. 1. That's the number 2. I'm trying to do the other one, so. That's the 3rd one. And this is the 4th one. You see that? You can make characters that advanced using the UFE engine. And how I showed this is a lot of work that I've done. We're gonna go here, training. We're gonna look at the second one. After this, we're gonna look at how I actually did these things from the first place.
Round 1.
Just like this.
Fight.
See how it's kind of cool like that? How you can do combos like that too. Just like that. You see that? So let's talk about some things actually. Let's see. Alright. So I'm going to give you a scenario about anyone that tries to essentially demeanor someone or tries to disprove someone or discredit someone. Here's the thing though. If they get your source files right, if anyone gets creative art sets or source files, and they try and get it, and they say that they did it in that sense, or disprove what you did, here's the thing though. Are they good enough to actually do the same art style on a 3D model as what you did? So in reality, in more common cases, most people that take your art's source files or any source file in general, they probably can't do your art style in general if they were trying to steal it or copy it or try and do bad actions, right? Because they can't actually copy the art style. So for anyone that tries to do anything weird in that sense, they will start realizing that they don't have the skill to create the source files. They don't have enough time to do the source files, right? And they realize their own art style is not equal to one's art style when they steal the source files from that implied person in that sense. As you can tell in that sense. In other words, if they steal the content, then they don't know how to do the art style. And in more layman terms, they can't do the art style that they take the art from in that sense. Hence, their art source files are essentially, or they get from the other person, not theirs to begin with. Now you know. Hence, they can't do the art style, they can't copy or stylize it, Hence, they could be not as what they seem. Probably a sad person to even do this in the first place. Now you know. Alright, now you know what the character designs. So we're gonna go and pause the game, turn this off. Now I want to show you what's going on in the system. So alright. So you see all of this? These are all kinds of like UI works you can do. All the art you can create in that sense too. Check this out. Or actually no. You see the art set here? Yeah. Or you don't see it? Alright, give me a second. You see this here? This was originally this. But then you can actually change your styles and actually create as many things as you want. And actually do some cool stuff with it too. Here, I'm gonna try and change this in Sprite UI. Single. And then I'm going to do apply. And then I'm gonna look at actually exeg no. Actually Sprite 2D UI. And then I'm gonna go into advanced. And then you can make albedo's alpha as transparency. Press apply and it makes it clear. You see how it looks very similar to all these? Because originally this type here I created, this is design of UI, was originally a 3D model render I did, and I just hand painted it and drew over it to redesign it with that sophistication. Now let's look at some other examples. So even this one too, right? Not perfect, but works. So we're gonna look at the system here. And I'm about to show you how I actually did this from the first place. It's a very colorful journey when you do this. Look at this, and then you look at this setting here, right? Alright, now I have to create new windows because no one's actually seeing this, so give me a second. And I'm gonna show you... Alright, here we go. Now I want to do a display capture. So I want to show you what I'm talking about. So here we go. So overall, here I want to put my video here too. See, now you see what's going on, right? So and wait, we're gonna let it wait in a sense. There we go. Cool. All right. So when you see this in that sense, right? This window kind of allows you to essentially change your designs and change your characters in that sense. Let's look at Bison use character for a bit. You see that actually in that sense? You see that? So this character was well made, designed by me in that sense. And you see there I have no all the systems, so you look into it, and it's very intuitive. The creator and designer of the code for this engine was very well thought out. They knew that there was going to be people like me that are actually going to use this very intuitively in a creative mindset to design something that's kind of fun to look at. They were well thinking for the creators and artists that want things to be easy to go into and not hard to go into the code in that sense. Here's the cool thing though, since it's the source version of this engine, I have control and editing control over the engine code itself. But there's no really no point for it, so let's look at Pierce attack. Now we're going to look at this point here, and we're going to look at this here, right? We look at animation point here, and then we're going to do animation preview. Ooh, look at that. It's my own character. You see that? So we're going to do this. See how the character looks like that too? All rendered, done by me in that sense. Alright, so we'll do back perspective, ISO, left, front, right, back. Okay, we're gonna look at this. And then you see how animations are tested like this too? The UFE engine is automatically allowing me to create the animations, and all I have to do is just add the hitboxes to the right spaces, which I'll show more later on. We see how it automatically does the system engine work like that too. So now we go into active frames. This is where you can essentially like change what works on the attack and what is an attack or not an attack. And you see what's going on here? I made the attack kind of active for 1 point, but I'll have recovery, right? So that recovery will change depending on what you're doing as well too. Here, just like that. So you can change things like that too, you see? But now let's go into the, how should I say this? This is the, give me a second. It's been a while since this happened. But if you want to, in the end, you can essentially just, oh yeah, I remember. So that's how you do it, right? But if you want to create the character and actually see its like hitboxes and things like that, there's a hitbox setup here, right? And boom, you can open the character and it allows you to look at the character's hitboxes nonetheless. And then you look here, you see how it looks like that too? That means the character is essentially being designed in that purpose. So we're gonna look here. You see how you can change the hitbox range and things like that? See what's going on? You can change these settings here. For example, circle for the shape will mean the circle of the shape will be in that circular shape. Body collider means it's going to be hittable. Hit collider means you can use that to hit others. No collider means nothing affected. Throw is when you can actually get the character and throw it. And projectile is essentially MSO colliders. You know what I'm talking about for any fighter player that does this. So when you see this, right, you see the upper torso. These are the settings that you can essentially use to at least make it work for your character. So there's ways to auto set it up, but for this case, when you see this in the end, always remember that when you're creating a character like this, you put into this system in the end, you have to set it up. First, you set it up, and you have to take each step to know what's going on. Now you know. So, yeah, there's more I can talk about, but yeah, let's see stages 2, and we'll look at Soul Prairie. Let's load for a bit. See? This is the world I've created. It's kind of laggy because I'm using a different generational laptop or a toolkit I'm using. But overall, you're starting to see what I'm talking about, right? You see how I well designed it? Even the texture